There are the right tools for washing a car. And then there's this one, a hydrovac used for digging holes in the ground to install things like fiber optic lines for internet service. A Bell contractor employee was doing just that when he accidentally got mud on David Rooney's car and then used the hydrovac to clean it, peeling the paint right off.
I happened to glance out the window and there was quite a wash of water, probably 10 feet high, and I was curious about that, so I came out to find that he's washing my car. I asked him to stop. I was quite surprised. I mean, he's obviously, familiar with the tool. He does it all the time and must realize that, you can't use that tool on a car.
$1,500 worth of damage was done. Rooney figured getting compensation would be simple. Instead, he found himself fighting Bell and its contractor, a company called Super Sucker Hydrovac. Neither would pay up.
I really came to a point in time where I felt like they're putting me off to wear me down.
It wasn't until Go Public contacted both companies that Super Sucker finally gave Rooney his money. But in many cases, getting compensation can be tough, says this consumer advocate.
There's many barriers to getting compensation. It's always worth asking, but generally speaking, there's a very low likelihood of getting any money back if the company or the telco resists paying you. Chances are you're going to eventually get nothing.
That's because the mediator of telecoms, the CCTS, doesn't deal with property damage complaints, only service-related ones, leaving court action as the only option. Lawford says legally, both Bell and its contractors are potentially liable. But
is this really a conversation we should be having about which person catches the hot potato? Shouldn't it be the consumer getting redress for something that it doesn't really matter whose fault, strictly speaking, legally it is?
Super Sucker blames the insurance companies on both sides, saying this is not a matter that should be handled by anyone internally or by Mr. Rooney himself. Bell blames Super Sucker, saying there was a serious issue with communication from our contractor and we have addressed the incident with them. The solution is simple, says Lawford. Expand the mandate of the CCTS to deal with property damage complaints.
At the moment, it leaves people facing a rather complicated legal problem that will be expensive to fix, with very little likelihood of winning, and then even if you do a very small recovery, or just letting any damage go. And that could be changed with a fairly simple change to the telecom ombudsman, the CCTS, having a wider scope to give some kind of compensation.
Rooney says that sure would have made things a lot easier for him.